What is good? It's your boy Snaps the Gorilla, aka The Definition, aka Snap Turtle, aka Snap, whatever you want to call me. What is good on this Friday morning? Anyway, I wanted to address something real quick because I'm very excited about this fight with Tank Davis and Frank Martin. I think it's going to be a very interesting fight for the reasons I talked about yesterday. But what I want to talk about now is something in this debate between Knockoutboxing 87 TV and BFTB that I find very interesting. And it's, KO Boxing and BFTB went at it in a debate. Basically, a debate about who they feel is going to win between Frank Martin and Tank Davis. KO Boxing has Tank winning the fight, and BF has Frank Martin winning the fight. And interestingly, both of them, their belief on who wins the fight, a lot of it hinges on a lot of the pre-fight shenanigans going on, right? Like all the shenanigans that Tank is pulling, all that type of shit, and basically how Frank Martin is reacting to the antics and the goofy shit that Tank Davis is doing. Tank Davis is doing some goofy shit in the lead up to this fight, and he's pulling a lot of antics. And some might say it's nervous energy, some might say he's trying to get in Frank Martin's head, some may say that Tank Davis is trying to get in, Frank Martin is nervous and all this other type of shit that Tank got in his head and all that type of shit. But in reality, we don't know what type of effect that is going to have in this fight. We don't know how that's going to affect the outcome of this fight, because this is a different arena for both of these fighters. Both these fighters are on doing something very different than they normally have done in their career. The question is, who's going to be more prepared for those differences, right? Frank Martin has never been under the lights like this, right? He's never fought anybody of this magnitude. I'm talking about social magnitude, not necessarily fight magnitude, right? Not necessarily the skill of the fighter. I'm talking about on the magnitude of the notoriety, the exposure that he's getting in this fight is something brand new to him. And for Tank Davis, the difference is the level of skill of the fighter he's facing in the ring. Now, I'm not saying that Frank Martin has fought anybody near or on the level of Tank Davis, but Frank Martin has fought fighters closer to Tank's level than Tank has fought fighters closer to Frank's level. That's just a fact, right? If you look at the resumes, Frank Martin has faced better opposition for his level than Tank has. You understand what I'm saying? He's never fought anybody near Frank's level. Frank has never fought anybody near Tank's level, but Frank has fought people closer to Tank's level than the opposite. But anyway, what I want to get into right now is, let's talk about the pressure that they had. Let's talk about the pressure they had yesterday and all the buzz surrounding how Frank Martin behaved in the presser, and how Tank Davis was basically pining for Frank Martin's attention. This is what I think is going on, man. Tank Davis is trying very hard to get reactions out of Frank Martin. To, yes, get in his head, but to also, again, like I said yesterday, he's also trying to gauge, right? He's trying to boost himself up. That's how I see it. I see him trying to hype himself up, because a lot of people in KO Boxing's panel last night were right about how Floyd Mayweather was basically Tank Davis' hype man but also took a lot of attention off of Tank Davis by talking about himself and all that type of shit. I think that, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think people are misreading Frank Martin's reactions. They're misreading it, particularly, surprisingly, but maybe not surprisingly, because KO is a little bit more than a diehard fan of Tank, right? So let's just get that out the way. KO is a little more than just a hardcore fan of Tank Davis. All right, that's just reality. Now, let's get into the meat of the shit. Let's talk about the flinch heard round the world. The oh so infamous flinch that, oh, that just determined Frank Martin is gonna, like, listen. KO Boxing said that Frank Martin closed his eyes and flinched because all last night, anybody that went against KO was telling him, was basically rebutting him, saying that, oh, you're taught not to flinch in boxing. You're taught not to flinch and close your eyes. You don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. You are supposed to keep your eyes open so that you can see the punch coming, right? And so that you can slip, so that you can fade, so that fade meaning fade back, right? Like just lean back, right? Not lean back at the waist, but take a step back and bend that rear leg so that you're out of the way, but you're still upright and you can still counter, right? Yes, you're taught that, right? Yes, that is something that you're taught. That's why you go through all the pad work. That's why you spar. That's why you have drills like, that's why you have, during pad work, you have the pad guy, the mid guy, throwing punches at you so that you can slip, so that you can roll, so that you can lean back, whatever you got to do. And KO Boxing is acting like Frank Martin has not been taught this shit. He's acting like Frank Martin is, this is his first fucking year in boxing. Like, oh, he just got it. He just started boxing last month. Like, come on. Frank Martin was taught this shit. Frank Martin understands that in the boxing ring, you don't flinch. You don't, not flinch, because flinch, that could be taken either way, right? Flinch could be like, flinch is, it just depends on, did you flinch like a scared little rabbit? That's the question. The question is not whether or not the flinching is bad, is how they flinched. KO Boxing said that fighters are taught not to close their eyes, but fighters do close their eyes. They close their eyes. They close their eyes in sparring because, again, like one guy said, if you are sparring or in a ring fighting somebody and you know you can't get out of the way of the punch, you are liable to close your eyes. That's a natural human reaction. It's a natural human reaction. When something is this close to your eyes, you don't want to leave your eyes open if the punch is getting ready to land and get your eye hurt. So you're going to close your eyes, yes, right? If you cannot get out of the way, sometimes you can try to turn your head with the punch, right? But if you can't even do that, you're going to see a fighter close his fucking eyes. So this whole idea about, oh, boxers can't close their eyes, and yeah, they close their eyes every now and then, but listen, when Frank Martin and Tank Davis is on that stage, they're not in the boxing ring, right? They are at a press conference. They're not getting ready to fight. Now, when Tank Davis did that to, act like when he fainted Frank Martin, I looked at it. I went and looked at it because I like to fact check, as you guys know, because a lot of people like to pontificate and beg the question. What is begging the question? Begging the question is making a statement as though it's fact when you have nothing to base that statement on, when nothing substantiates your statement, but you're presenting it as a fact. You're saying, yeah, Frank Martin closed his eyes. He flinched and closed his eyes. Well, that's begging the question, because you did not substantiate that claim. You just made the statement, and you're presenting as fact, and you did it the whole night. KO Boxing did the shit the whole night. Every time anybody talked about the flinching. Now I went and looked at it. I looked at it 3 times, 4 times this morning. Frank Martin did not close his eyes when Tank Davis fainted. Frank Martin did not close his eyes when Tank Davis fainted at him. He didn't. He barely flinched. Real talk. Go look at that. Go look at the clip. You ain't got to watch the whole presser. There are plenty of clips out there of Frank Martin flinching. He did not flinch. Well, he barely flinched. He reacted. Right? What he did was he did like this and then did like that. He actually pumped at Tank Davis. He didn't go. No, he went like this. He brought his hand up like that and then went like that, as though he was going to block, right? As though as though he was bringing his hand up and then did like that. But he did not close his fucking eyes, and he barely flinched. He brought his hand up like back like that, back, and then his left hand came back. I can't show y'all that, right? Y'all can't see that on me, but he went like this, brought his hand up, barely went back and went like that, and did not close his fucking eyes. Did not close his eyes. Frank Martin did not close his eyes. And this whole idea that, Frank Martin's reaction time was slow and all this type of shit. He's at a press conference, his hands are down, and that's it, right? Tank Davis is in his face, talking shit like he's supposed to do. Frank Martin is talking a little shit back, but I don't see Frank Martin as having the temperament of going at Tank Davis in the way that Tank Davis going. I just don't see it. I don't, you know what I'm saying? He might talk a little bit, but he's not Tank Davis. Y'all expecting him to be Tank Davis. Y'all expecting Frank Martin to be all flamboyant and boisterous. That's just not him. Why are we projecting on Frank Martin what we feel like should be done, right? If Frank Martin doesn't want to square all the way up to Tank, if Frank Martin doesn't want to do all this when Tank Davis is touching his jewelry, and he don't have to do that. He doesn't have to do it, right? He doesn't have to do it. And him not doing it does not mean that he's scared, right? He's just like, whatever, man. I'm gonna let this dude feel like he's having his way with me, and yeah, whatever. He can do what he wants. I'm gonna let him feel like, I'm gonna let him get real comfortable. Y'all don't know what Frank Martin is in Frank Martin's mind. Y'all are arguing opinions. There's no fact or evidence to dictate or to determine or to definitively state that Frank Martin is scared, and that's why he did this and did like that, and that's why he let him touch it. You don't know you can't prove the intent. You can't prove the intent behind how Frank Martin reacted, because you're not in his head, and because he didn't tell y'all. Y'all didn't hook him up to a lie detector test, sit him down and question him about whether or not he was scared. Y'all didn't do that. Nah. Frank Martin has every right to react how he wants to react and still have a good chance to win. That's just point blank period. Frank Martin did not close his fucking eyes, and he barely flinched. When y'all like to put, people like to hyperbolize, right? Just all this hyperbole. Oh, Frank Martin flinched and closed his eyes like a deer in headlights. Well, deer in headlights open their eyes wide. Never mind. That's not the right that's not the right metaphor. No. Like as a matter of fact, I want y'all to understand something. If you look at animals in the wild, right? When especially prey animals, I'm not going to compare why I'm comparing, but look at this. Prey animals like rabbits, deer, and things like that, they are natural prey. They are always afraid, right? They're always afraid. They're always on alert, because And that's why their eyes are on the side of their heads, right? If you look at prey compared to predators eyes are in the front, right? Because they are the predator and they're not typically the prey. So they have evolved to have their eyes in front so they can see straight ahead and in their periphery what their prey is doing, so they can stalk and hunt and all that other type of shit. And they don't have to worry about, you know, having a wider peripheral range of vision, right? Because prey animals' eyes are on the side of their heads more so, right? More so on the side, and or further apart and more like at an angle, so they can more easily see around them, and then they don't have to turn their head that much to see behind them, right? That's the difference between prey animals and predators. And so prey animals are scared 24/7, right? They're eating, they're foraging, they're constantly doing this. If you look at them, they're constantly doing that. And when an animal that is prey is getting ready to be attacked, or they feel like they're getting ready to be attacked, their eyes are wide open. They're like this. If you look at people that are afraid and things are happening and they're so frightened, their eyes are wide open. They're not like this unless that threat is so close up on them and they don't want to see what's about to be done to them, right? They don't necessarily want to see the attack because they're so docile and they're so afraid that, you know, they're trying to block the threat from their mind because they're trapped. They're cornered, right? And there's nowhere else for them to go, right? Whereas, you know, a prey animal, whereas someone who is about to get hit, someone who is about to feel the impact, they know that it's coming, right? And whether it lands or not, they know it's coming. Whether it's with full force or not, they know it's coming. They might close their eyes to protect their eyes. This is a natural instinct of a human being. It's a natural instinct of an animal, right? Now, Frank Martin, when Tank Davis feinted at him, he didn't go like that. His eyes weren't super wide open, nor did he close his eyes. His eyes were regular as fuck. His eyes were neutral, in a regular state of being open. And he barely flinched and did it like that. Someone who is frightened of Tank Davis fainting at them is not going to keep their eyes open. They're not going, or keep their eyes in the neutral state. They're not going to go like that. You know what I'm saying? Frank Martin's face was straight. He was very taciturn, very taciturn meaning like what's I forgot what that other word for it is. Damn it! It's actually a philosophy and a principle that a lot of men. What is that? Taciturn. There's when you calm, cool, and collected, where you don't always react to everything. I forgot what that's called. Fuck. What's that word? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Damn it. But look up the word taciturn and you'll see what I'm saying. All right. But Frank Martin's face was very still. It was very, you know, if you look at it, if you look at that goddamn feint, Frank Martin's face was very still, calm, cool, collected, and you know, he did not close his eyes. He did not go like, oh, he did not do that. This is a lie that is being pushed by KO. Point blank period. Either he's lying or he just didn't really pay attention. Or he didn't really analyze that particular kerfuffle. So go look at it. I guarantee you will see that Frank Martin did not close his eyes, nor did he flinch at the level that KO and others will have you believe. But of course, these people, they ride for Tank real hard. And so therefore, they're going to exaggerate. They're going to add extras to it. You know, and that's par for the course. That's also going to help sell the fight. And other people are going to believe them. They're going to say, oh, Frank Martin's scared. I can't wait to see him get his ass whooped, right? Hey, that's perfectly fine. But I'm here to tell you, Frank Martin did not close his eyes. Damn, they need to fit these goddamn good old construction sites, y'all. See, this is why I don't bring my own goddamn personal truck up here. That's why I have a company truck. You ain't about to fuck my goddamn shocks up. Fuck that. Fuck your own shocks up. You heard me? Anyway, so like I was saying, Frank Martin didn't goddamn flinch. I mean, he flinched barely. He did not close his fucking eyes. He was not shaking in his boots. His face was still and taciturn. And that's just what it is. Like, you know, but y'all can believe what y'all want to believe. But I always suggest that people go, instead of just blindly believing shit, they just go check for yourself, man. There's clips out right now that will help you understand whether or not Frank Martin closed his fucking eyes. Just go watch it. Watch it for yourself. Stop always just going by what people say. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to start thinking freely, man. Y'all need to be free thinkers, man. Y'all, this is ridiculous, right? And people with influence, man. KO's a good dude, man. KO's a solid individual, but you got to do a little bit better, man. You got to do a little bit better, because a lot of your argument hinges on Frank Martin closing his eyes, because that sells the idea that Frank Martin was scared as fuck. But that's not what happened. Yo, what's up? To Ahahi Bilash. Yeah, I had a boxing coach made a big deal when I started going to boxing about me flinching, and it made no sense. Never once have me any methods of how to prevent or control it. Just kept yelling it. So, see, that's the thing. Some people are just, they don't know how to explain things. Some people don't know how to explain things well. And when I don't think that coaches should tell people not to flinch. I don't think that should be the case. Because you want them to react in a way that if somebody attacks you with a punch, you want them to react in the way that they want to, that punch is not going to land. So to tell somebody don't flinch is the wrong thing, the wrong instruction. I think that you should get them to understand that slipping and rolling, right? You want to slip. No nonsense, Stucky was good. So, like I was saying, in regards to the flinching, you want to get them to, because you want them to react, but in the right way, in a way to where they can effectively make somebody miss and then make them pay, right? So I wouldn't say don't flinch. I would say don't, you know, if you're going to react in a way to where you're still in position to land a punch after they throw and you make them miss. And don't close your eyes as you see that they're getting ready to throw a punch, because you want to see where the punch may land. You want to see, oh, okay, is he throwing the right hand or left hand? You want to see the punch coming. So you need your eyes open to see that. And then you want to slip, you want to roll, depending on what type of punch it is, depending on how you want to counter, depending on if you are going to counter or you just want to, maybe you want to roll under and shuffle, you know, to get the angle on them, to get, you know, to get way on the side or something like that. There are different ways to do it. I wouldn't tell somebody necessarily not to flinch, because that's just, anyway, I gotta get out of here. Much love. Thank y'all for coming through and listening. But Frank Martin did not close his eyes when Tank fainted at him. He didn't close his eyes. He barely flinched. He went like this. He brought his hand up. He brought his hand up like that. Brought his hand up like that. Eyes were open, and then he went like that. And then with the left hand, he was acting like he was about to throw a punch. Anyway, much love, like, share, subscribe, and we're going to